Hi everybody, Dan Illman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets. Hi everybody, Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, March the 11th, part of a really nice card at Turf Paradise. This is the $100,000 Cotton Fitzsimmons Mile Handicap on the turf. Let's take a peek at the field for race number 8. You can download free Formulator past performances on the race of the day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us, then play the entire card at Turf Paradise with your DRF Bets account with free Formulator past performances. Interesting dynamic here, Mike. You've got the two morning line favorites, the 5 Camino del Parisio and the 4 Majestic Eagle. Those are two battle-tested veterans. And then you've got the 1 Mucho del Oro, the 8 There Goes Harvard. These are horses with upside.
Yeah, true enough. I mean, I do, I think it's hard to tell who's going to be favored, Dan, at post time, probably either the 4 or the 5. Listen, the 1's been in pretty good form recently, going a little bit shorter at Santa Anita, especially since Vlad Surin claimed this horse. And it just kind of feels like the 8, There Goes Harvard, has all the upside.
The speed, however, comes from the outside. That's doubtless. That's the number 9, Axeman. As we take a look at our Timeform US pace projector, you remember Axeman from when he was trained by Bob Baffert back in 2020, 2021. He was always a solid miler on dirt. It looks like they're trying to reinvent him as a turf horse. I'm not sure it's his surface.
Yeah, me either. I too remember Axeman as sort of a mediocre dirt horse. So far, it hasn't, things haven't gone great for him on the grass, but I guess he could make the lead here.
Mucho del Oro, the number 1, was claimed by Vladimir Serin for $40,000, and he had a plan. Even though he won that race the day he was claimed going a mile, they cut him back, going 6.5 furlongs in his next 3 starts. Things worked out great. Let's watch his last start going down the hill on February the 5th. Now, this is a 2 other than optional claimer. He broke very sharp in this race, stalked on the outside, very late to change leads, but there's no one coming to get him.
Yeah, he ran really well in this race. As you mentioned, he did get away from the gate really well, and he was just ridden with a lot of confidence until they got into the stretch. He takes over. He's never really threatened late in this race. Then always looked like he was going to win. He did win. It was a slight step forward for him. To be honest, I thought he probably ran even better 2 starts back when he won, because he had real trouble at the start that day. He was wide around the track. He still managed to get the job done in there. This horse is in great form right now, and he's supposed to be fine at the mile.
And he'll break probably from the inside post running. He'll let Axeman go, and he'll likely be in a very good position when the real racing begins. Giant Payday is the number 2. He's one of the local horses. He just finished 3rd in a little stakes race at Turf Paradise behind my Indy. He is a consistent veteran in good form. It just seems like there are other consistent veterans in good form in this race that might have more class.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, unfortunately for Giant Payday, this race actually came up pretty strong this year, and it feels like he's in a tough spot. He's, I can't say anything bad about his recent form, Dan, and it does feel like there could be some pace in here for this horse to run at, so you could probably use him somewhere at a price.
It took a long time for the number 3 My Indy to break his maiden. Once he did, he's become somewhat of a win machine. He was claimed for $20,000 3 starts back by David Van Winkle, and he's gone 2 for 2 at Turf Paradise, including this win in the Turf Paradise Turf. And he got up close to the pace in this race, and we see him getting to the outside. Another horse that utilized his good tactical speed, and now he bursts clear and is going to hold sway.
Yeah, this is another just good performance, as you mentioned, for a horse who's just in really good form right now, Dan. He's another horse who he feels like he's in the position here of landing in a race where he's going to have to take a step forward to win. But man, his overall form, especially the last 3 or 4 months, it's pretty good.
Just salty veterans. He's earned almost $500,000 in his career for Neil Drysdale. He's a former graded stakes winner, and they found a great spot for him last time out at Turf Paradise in the local prep for this race. And Mike, didn't he just get a great trip and ride? He was in the pocket. He got out at just the right time, and he was able to score with a 94 buyer.
Yeah, he did get a perfect trip in that race, Dan. It's another reason when you go back and watch it too, there's just no closing going on there. He got right up close to the pace, and I know the pace was solid. But he just sat, perfectly in behind, got clear in the stretch, and there was nobody coming at the end of that race. You mentioned that Drysdale, found a good spot for him. This horse needed to land in a spot like that. And that was his first race since the summer, or his first win since the summer of 2019. It had been a really long time since he won a race. He did one pretty well, though, and his figures have really held up.
The 5 Camino del Parisio is 9 years old, and he's like fine wine. He just keeps getting better. He was grade 3 placed on synthetic 2 starts back. In his seasonal debut, they ran him in the Unusual Heat Turf Classic for Calabreds, and this is where a good trip turns into something that may not be so good. Camino del Paraiso, as we came to the stretch, was sitting in the pocket in a nice spot, but as you see, nowhere for him to go right now, and he's going to have to dive down to the inside looking for a little bit of room. He's going to get some room. He's going to get up for second.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, that maybe the trip wasn't perfect. All in all, I thought it was pretty good, Dan, and I thought he got clear with enough time in there. At the end of the day, I'm just going to say he was only second best in that race. He still ran fine. And I also just feel like that's a mile and an eighth. I kind of feel like that's a little too far for this horse. The mile and a 16th, I think that's a way better distance for him. He ran against Majestic Eagle 3 times back in 2020, all in stakes races. This horse finished ahead of Majestic Eagle every single time in those races. I think he's the horse to beat in here.
And the 6th finisher from the Unusual Heat came back. He ran second at a big price in the grade 3 San Simeon with a 91 Beyer speed figure. Number 6 is Zumera D, who was no match for Majestic Eagle last time out. This is a horse that just doesn't have a lot of speed. He's at the mercy of race and pace luck. Axeman runs off trying to clear to the lead from the far outside post. It gives this horse a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I agree. I do think there's a chance this pace could be solid. Now, I feel like that was kind of the case last time when Majestic Eagle won, and this horse really never made any kind of an impact. I mean, that pace was pretty fast, but for whatever reason, nobody made up any ground in there. If you feel like you can excuse this horse's performance last time and think he's going to be able to take a step forward in here, he could get a piece.
Black Ops is the number 7, and this horse has been very consistent on turf and dirt in his last few races. He won on turf 2 starts back, on a 2-turn 7.5. Let's watch his last race on dirt. This is back in early January. Optional claiming race. He ran just fine to be second. I wonder if this is kind of his ceiling right now. Buyers in the high 70s. It's not going to get it done on Friday.
Yeah, I just sort of feel like he's kind of hard to make a case for. It's interesting, Dan, because they run him on turf very sparingly throughout his career, but it seems like every time they run him on turf, he shows up and runs a good race. I mean, they're not fast races, and they may not necessarily make him competitive against this field, but he does handle the turf.
Preakness winning trainer Michael McCarthy sends out the 8th There Goes Harvard, and he's had a lot of success shipping horses to Turf Paradise. I believe he's 6 for 10 lifetime, but he's going to have to do it off a long layoff with There Goes Harvard, a horse that seemed to improve when switched to the turf last year at Ellis Park. He won his maiden on turf, then he ran a pretty good race, and this allowance going 9 furlongs 2 starts back. This is way back in the summer on July 16th. There Goes Harvard was sitting off of the pace on the outside, and as they turn into the stretch, we see him angle with a 3-wide move, and he's game to run second.
I mean, I thought he ran okay in this race, Dan. Can't disagree with how you broke it down there. A pretty good performance for him, but personally didn't think he had any excuse in that race. I mean, he's had a nice trip. He was right there dueling for from the top of the stretch. He was only second best, but it was a good performance. Listen, does he have to improve to beat this field? He probably does, but he's the upside horse in the race.
He returned from that race to run second in the Ellis Park Derby. We haven't seen him since August. It'll be interesting to see what we get off the layoff. Axeman is the number 9. Not only is he the speed, but we have a formulator fact as he goes second off the layoff for trainer Dan McFarland. Axeman, 25% this barn, $3 return on investment, with horses making their second start on turf off a layoff of 61 days or greater. He's the speed. He's got a little bit of back class. You and I have never really been huge fans of this horse.
Yeah, didn't like him that much as a dirt horse, and obviously, at least at this point, he's way better on dirt than he is on turf. Based on his 2 turf starts to date, Dan, I mean, I just don't see him beating this field. I suppose he's a threat to wire him right up on the front end, but I didn't like him.
Let's take a look at our top picks for our race of the day on Friday, the 100 grander Cotton Fitzsimmons Mile. You're going with Mucho del Oro, who should work out a good trip from the rail, and he's just been in great form.
Yeah, I just like his races since he got claimed by Vladser, and I really like his last 2 starts. He's supposed to be able to handle the mile. I just like the way he's been sort of, rating a little more comfortably in his most recent starts. I think he's going to sit a nice trip in this race.
I certainly respect him, and I certainly respect the salty veterans, but I do want to go with maybe a horse with a bit more upside. He's going to be a decent price, I would believe. The 8th There Goes Harvard. Maybe he'll be 5, 6 to 1 or so, but he's going to have to deal with the layoff. 8415 for me, 1584 for Mike. It's the Friday of the day on a nice card at Turf Paradise. Best of luck.